Hey there, happy Tuesday guys and gals. I'm going over the one short which I did on CEMI. Overall, great trade. I locked in gains to not get greedy. I'm going to go overall what I did right and what hopefully you can learn from it. But again, all these are just for me just to catalog my trading process towards becoming a consistent profitable trader. So again, don't take anything I say as advice. It's not, okay? All these I do are for educational purposes only. So let's just dive right in. Alright, so going through it in the day, I always emphasize that you really want to focus on what you are good at as a trader. And as I mentioned in the previous recaps, I am more tuned towards the short side. Now, that does not mean that I do not go long, okay? I do go long. Most often than not, I like going long OTC setups that have great potential for a nice OTC breakout. But quite frankly, I am just more attracted to the short side. I don't know why. Perhaps it's all the studying I've been doing, but I wouldn't say more potential, because I mean, I'll be a hypocrite, because yesterday, Monday, there was tons of room to go long on the one stock which I'm pretty sure everyone's talking about, WIMI. Okay, this was a monster, and again, I did record this one live, but for those who do not know, I had a buy order to buy this right out as it was breaking out, but it just blew right past my order, and quite frankly, I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't want to chase the stock. I mean, this went from freaking the high of 38 the next day, and it was absolutely insane. But I'm not saying there's not potential going along. I know there is, but I just see more things on the short side, and I would rather have stocks go up and wait for a nice shorting opportunity, because most of these stocks which we trade will come back down. Okay, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Just like we've seen on IZA and GNUS and Mark, all these runners. Okay, now I'm not saying that all these stocks are junk. They're not. I mean, for instance, Alt has been one of the massive short squeezes we've seen in a while. I mean, from $1 in February to the high of 33 today, absolutely insane. And again, this is a coronavirus sector stock, so I mean, everyone's trying to find the top with this one stock. And again, shorting, two things: timing and risk management. Okay, you have to, I wouldn't say be able to master both, because again, you're not going to be able to master the market, but every day work on the process. But just focus on those two concepts for short selling, is timing and risk management. Because if you short at the wrong time, you're asking for disaster, right? And again, I'm not perfect. I've shorted too soon, like I've showed you in the past recaps, like on GNUS and IDEX and many more. Seca was another one I shorted too soon. A lot of them, right? But it's all about learning the process, and as well risk management. Because again, with short selling, the risk to reward is different, okay? And you can lose a lot more what you put in going short, okay? Going long, you lose your entire funds, but going short, you can lose more, plus you can go into debt with your broker. And now, I know that risk, I understand that. I'm willing to take that risk if I see the right play that fits my personality. Now, that's very important. Alright, so that's another common question I get a lot is, Victor, what's the hot stock? I mean, yesterday I had a great friend of mine tell me, I have money on the side to invest in, what should I do? And I'm not the person to do that for you, okay? I'm not the one to say buy this, buy that, okay? That's your job, okay? I'm trading for me. I'm trading for my account only. I don't trade for no one else's account. Perhaps in the future, but as of right now, I do not. And if you have to ask that question, what should I trade? What do I do? That's the question that you should really ask yourself. You should be studying if you ask that question. Again, I've been there. But don't be in a rush. I mean, you don't need to trade. I mean, I've been doing this for 104 weeks studying. I've only been trading since last week of February of this year. But like I always say this, trading should be effortless. Trading should be boring, okay? And it really should be boring. I mean, that sounds kind of counterintuitive, because you really want to wake up and have fun. But for me, I've gone days and days and days without trading. I mean, for instance, let me show you. This is my trade on, well, let me just show you. This is my year so far. Months. Well, how do we do this? Months. Here we go. I've gone days without even placing a trade. As you can see, the first week of July, I mean, I've gone days and days. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I understand that you're trying to grow your account. And I'm not saying you can't trade every day, but for me being under PDT, I only have 3 day trades a week. Now again, I do have enough funds to open up multiple accounts, but I simply prefer having all my funds in one account now at E-Trade, simply because I do prefer short selling, and they tend to have borrows compared to Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade otherwise. But in the near future, that's my plan, to open up multiple accounts to have more day trades and be able to have more options down the road. But it's always, before we go into any trade, always know why. You know what I mean? Always ask, why am I going to enter the trade? And as well, always know your exit plan. I always say, like, whenever you walk into a building, always know the exit door, right? If something bad happens. As in a trade, always go into a trade thinking worst case scenario. What is the worst possible scenario in this trade? And again, entry point, have a risk point, and have a target point. Okay, many people focus on the money. They focus on the money. They focus on the target. And yes, sometimes you get lucky, but luck runs out. Okay, and I've been there. I mean, perhaps I got lucky on today's trade, but I did not, because I had a plan. I would say a strategy, because this is probably trade number 4 that I've been doing this on shorting the bounce after the first hard pullback. I talked about it in the last trade recap on Solo and on MOGU, which I'll go over in a minute, but please make sure to watch those. But I know what I'm trading. Okay, I'm not just trading randomly. When I go into a trade, I always ask why, and if I can't answer that question, then I pass on the trade. Okay, I mean, there's always going to be many more opportunities down the road. All right, but overall, there's a few stocks I'm watching for tomorrow. I'll probably post this tonight if possible. But VXRT has been an absolute gift. The higher the better. This is a nice coronavirus sector play. Understand, the longer this goes up, the risk reward shifts, buying going along. The great time to buy was a breakout right here. Again, 1, 2, third green day. If it can somehow happen, the odds are against it. But overall, we'll see what happens. Ideally, if there's a gap down, that could be played as a potential overextended gap down pattern. Shorting using the previous closing price or red to green. All right, but again, I'm not trying to predict the future here. I'm just playing by the odds. But again, higher the better. I would love this to go higher, but I'll watch it for sure. Likely won't trade it because I'll be at work. But again, one more time, if it gaps down, that could be a potential overextended gap down pattern, because once more, it's kind of the first time in the trend that longs have a real reason to panic, right? I mean, yes, the breakout was right here. I'm not saying it can go higher. I mean, the odds say it can. But we'll see what happens, okay? I would love it to have one more green day to get really overextended in my books. But that is that one. Another one I'm watching, of course, WIMI is another one. And this kind of a weird candle in my opinion. The volume just freaking dried. I mean, the first day was 155 million. The next day was 57 million. The volume is standing up. Ideally, in a perfect world, this will gap down. And I don't know what's going to happen, honestly. I'm not trying to predict the future, but ideally, hopefully we have a nice bounce to short into. I mean, it had a nice triple top. I mean, this range right here, 1 time, 2 time, 3 time. But we'll see. If it gaps down, it can have a nice washout, in my opinion. I mean, all those. WIMI is a nice gap down play. Along with EQ, that one faded a lot, but it does still have room to come down if you look at the chart, because this really does not have no layer of support. You could say this area right here, but again, there's no volume. The volume is being traded at the present time, and the volume again is drying up. Roughly 100 million the day before, and today had 19 million. So we'll see. Perfect world gaps up towards VWAP and fadeth. Then if not, faded if really $13 cracks and fails. There likely will be some support in this range right here. But other than that, I'll watch that one for sure. Another overextended gap down play I'm watching is PRCP. This one is going to be watched as well for a gap down, but the higher the better. They had positive news, I believe. I'm not really sure what. Again, I focus on the price section, but it's holding its gains right now. It's a low float stock, I believe, but we'll see what happens. if it gaps down again, ideally if it gaps down 525, we could use the resistance support of 540 as a risk, or again using the red to green as my risk level. But it looks like it might perk up. We'll see what happens on that one. No guessing game, just seeing what the market gives me. RIGL is another one to watch. Long-term chart, nice for a screen day pattern. Overall, again, volume trumps all. Major volume. Okay. News today was what? Again, I don't really focus on the news. I'm not saying to ignore it. Always take it into consideration. It is a COVID-related sector, as you can see here. COVID. We'll see what happens. The higher, the better. I was actually tempted to go long this stock as it broke past 450s, but it had a major stuff zone. I didn't really recognize this perk right here because I was watching it on my phone. I hadn't ordered to buy it, but I saw the previous resistance, and the risk reward shifted. Because whenever you want to buy this, the odds say that buying the high day break, you're gonna get stuffed more often than not, and that's exactly what we got right here. And it's kind of a great thing I didn't get long. That would have been a great short sell, but I didn't really pull the trigger. But other than that, tomorrow I'll watch it for sure. I really don't want to short this. I do feel like this can go higher, but we'll see. I mean, taking into consideration that it is a COVID sector play, we'll see. But if it gaps down, we'll see what happens. If it gaps down, again, using that red to green as my risk level. But we'll see what happens on that one. But let me go over the one trade which I took today on CEMI. This one was a great trade. No significant news to warrant the uptrend. Again, as we say, but long-term chart is about sushi, not great. And again, as I mentioned, I don't look for a trade, okay? I got off work early. I was in front of the screens at 2 o'clock till market close, to say. And this popped up on chat, Profitability chat, and I saw it. And I wasn't trying to find the exact top. I wasn't trying to short this, okay? I wanted to extend itself, and I was waiting, as I mentioned on the previous recap on Solo and MOGU. I wait for the first hard crack, okay? It's very important here, okay? All these are pullbacks. These are pullbacks getting bought back up. Pullbacks they're getting bought back up. Yeah, how many pullbacks? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't count that one. Yeah, four dips that are getting bought back up. But this massive dip right here was when I got short. I didn't get short at 621. I got short at 525. And trade view, again, all these will be verified and Profitability, but I got short at 545. 600 shares. I mean, it's not massive. I could have went bigger, but I was risking 150 bucks, and I went for the 2-to-1 ratio. Short of 575. Again, entry point 575. Call it right there, 575. I believe it was this wick right here, 575. I was risking the whole dollar of 6. Okay. Now again, I used a wider stop. Okay. And hindsight, I should have used a tighter stop, but it's okay. I did well on this trade. This trade is one of my playbook trades, shorting the bounce after the first hard crack. Okay, I missed the bounce right here, but no big deal. And the positive insight is that I did not short weakness. Okay, I waited for a bounce. I waited for the nice reclaim of 575. Yes, I could have got 580, but it's only 5 cents away. Again, 600 shares, and I did cover at my 2-to-1 ratio that I took, which was 525. Now, again, you may be saying this went down to a low of $5. Yes, I left about a couple $100 on the table, but no big deal. I locked in my gains, and that is that. And as you can see, after hours, it is kind of revamping. So it's kind of great that I did not get greedy. I did not overstay, and I locked in my gains. And yes, this costed a day trade. That's fine. Okay. I wanted to hold this overnight because I didn't want to count as a day trade. But whenever the market handed me money, I'm going to take it. Okay. But other than that, I'll be right back. So this was a great gain of overall $300. This is really my largest trade as a trader. And again, I'm not ashamed to admit it, but it is. This is really my largest gain. As you can see, this kind of did help me overall with my trading profits on the year. Again, being transparent, as I'm all about, I'm down roughly $600 after that one trade. That kind of did help my overall profit, to say. But again, just taking what the market gives me and hitting singles. And yes, it's only $300, but again, I always talk about scalability. What if I took 1,000 shares, 2,000 shares, 3,000 shares? You get the point, okay? I only shorted 600 shares, okay? and this is one of the trades I'm fine with. And like I mentioned on the previous recap, it's the exact same strategy I took on this trade is what I was taking on MOGU. And of course, big picture, I was right. MOGU did come back down, okay? And shame on me for not shorting this even more, but I was shorting it, I believe, which day was it? The 8th. I was shorting it right this day right here, yeah. I was the first red day. Same type of pattern, same type of strategy, except for this one, again, as I mentioned, it was midday. So that's really the only flaw in that one, but same type of ordeal. Shorting a bounce, okay? But this one was perfect. CMEI, profit of $300 in about, I mean, this trade was only about, it was less than an hour. I just got short again at 5, so it was like, what? It was less than an hour for sure. And that's the most I've made. I mean, if you don't know who I am, I have a full-time job at Black's Barbecue, and $300, I make that who knows what in how many days there. Working $9 an hour over there, right? So it's a great trade. But overall, one more time, just to simplify things. Shorting the bounce after the first hard pullback, and it's a very important thing not to pre-exhaust yourself on the front side of the move. That's one of the key things I take away from Nate from IU, is that you don't want to pre-exhaust yourself. Let all of them do it. Let them get in higher. And sorry about that. But yeah, as I was saying, Nate from IU always emphasizes that he would rather be short a few cents late than early. And that goes a long way, okay? Because I know that, yes, I could have caught the top. But again, I'm happy with my gain. And over time, I'll get better. It's all about testing and refining and focusing on the process. But other than that, I'll be back if I do make any more trades this week. But stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time. If you have any questions, leave them below, and I'll get back to you. Thank you.